Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to anyone who's new here. My name is Zanele. So I am a registered South African nurse and I am here on YouTube documenting my life as a nurse in South Africa. If that is the type of content you would like to enjoy, please do hit the subscribe button and join This Is Nessie. Without wasting any time, let us get on today's video. I want to share with you guys 5 signs that you should check out to know Uba it's time for you to leave your job. I'm sharing these tips because there are certain people that will stay in a place where it no longer serves them. It no longer serves their interest, it no longer serves their lifestyle, it no longer serves their health. So I'm sharing this because I have recently, and by recently I literally mean 5 months or 6 months ago, I really cannot get into the feels of saying my current. I like saying my new job. It's really not a new job anymore because we are 6 months into it now, so there's no way we can still be calling it a new job. But I'm sharing this from a perspective of someone who has experienced some of these signs and also someone who has resigned. So number 1, if it impacts your mental health. Guys, the honest truth is that 80% of our time we spend it in our workplace than at home. And by spend, I don't mean the number of hours that you are sleeping when you are at home. I mean the number of hours of you interacting with other humans and of you executing tasks. Number of those hours, majority of them you spend them at work. So if your workplace starts impacting your mental health, then honey, it's time for you to leave. If you find yourself feeling depressed, feeling like you're not enjoying anything that you used to enjoy outside and inside work, just know that it is time for you to leave that place. If it affects your mental health, and by affecting your mental health, I'm not only talking about like submission of reports. We all get anxious whenever we are about to reach our deadlines, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you waking up in the morning and thinking, am I really going to that place? I think I've shared with you guys how my previous job did affect my mental health. I think last year at the beginning of lockdown, like it sent me to the pit. And I had noticed that from how I was dressing when I was going to work and how I was interacting with my patients and also how I was interacting with my own circle outside work. Because with mental health issues, it will not only affect you, the victim, but it will also affect those who are around you. So if you feel that your workplace has a negative impact on your mental health, that is sign number 1 that you should leave that job. Number 2, it's something that I've also mentioned on why I quit my nursing job video, when there is completely no growth. I don't want to lie, when I started working as a community service nurse, which you can also call an intern nurse, I was enjoying nursing. I was enjoying the diversity of nursing as well as the experience that I was getting as a new nurse. There's a difference between doing practicals and actually being employed and working as a qualified graduate nurse. So I was really enjoying finding myself, finding my passion and my purpose as a young nurse. I really enjoyed it, I think, for the first 3 years of my work experience. And on my 4th year of work experience, I started feeling like I need something that can give me more challenge, something that can give me new information and opportunity to learn. And my job, my previous job, was definitely no longer giving me that anymore. I no longer had room to grow where I was. I kept on doing the same thing over and over again, and it kept on being repetitive and boring, and I thought, I'm God, it's time for me to go. So if you feel your workplace you've got 0 room for growth and 0 room for learning, there is no use for you to stay there. As humans, we are meant to grow, we are meant to expand, and if an environment is unable to give you that, then peace out, honey. The third sign that you should look out for is if you are working in a toxic environment. I wouldn't say I've worked, oh well, I have worked in toxic environments, but they were not toxic towards me more than they were to other people. So I've seen people staying in toxic environments where you don't get along, like literally get along, not just clashes, but where you just don't get along with your superior. Nothing is frustrating like not getting along with someone whom you have to work closely with, or someone that you have to report to. Guys, that is frustrating. It's one of the things that can cause your job to have a negative mental health impact on you. So a toxic environment, if there is no way that the HR or any other person can intervene in changing the environment that you're working in to be bearable, then just leave, honey. There is no greater reason than your happiness to stay in a job. Like, you cannot stay in an environment where you feel like you are not welcomed, you are not wanted, your efforts are not recognized, because that's what a toxic environment does. You don't even feel like you are fitting into the team. You don't even feel like you are pulling the same direction with the team. So if your environment, your work environment is toxic to a point where there are days you go to a doctor and get a sick note just to stay away from that environment without being sick, then it's time for you to leave. Don't stay in an environment where you are not wanted, in an environment where you are not heard. I know a lot of young nurses tend to clash with the older nurses, and there are certain ways of resolving such issues, but if they are unable to be resolved, and if your work environment causes you to compromise who you are, your growth, your intelligence, your confidence, if it makes you to compromise that, then it's time for you to leave. Find a better place. Find a place where you're gonna feel welcomed, where you're gonna fit into the mission and the goal of and the vision of the company. Find a place that will allow you to be you, and a place that will encourage you to be better and to grow. The fourth sign that it's time for you to leave your job, it is definitely being underpaid. I know a lot of nurses will be like, I relate. Yeah, South African nurses, African nurses for that matter, we're not properly paid in most institutions, especially with our government, yet we are called public servants. If you feel you are underpaid, you know, I always say this to people, that I never felt like my salary was a problem until the couple of months before I could leave my job, or rather a year before I could leave my job. At the beginning, obviously, your salary might be able to to house your lifestyle, for instance. It might be able to house your wants and your needs, but as you grow, I completely believe that responsibilities also change. When I started working, I didn't have a child, I didn't have a car, I didn't have a lot of responsibilities, but now I'm a mom, I have a car, I need my own place, and my bills have grown. And unfortunately, some companies don't grow salary as you are growing as well. For instance, when I started working, like, the value that I have now as a nurse is way greater than the value that I had when I was a newly qualified graduate fresh from school. So I expect to be paid better than the girl that I was when I started working 5 years ago. So if I'm gonna keep a job for 5 years and still be on the same salary rank for 5 years, then that is a little bit problematic. And I know in some companies, just like Department of Health, you cannot negotiate your salary. Like, you can't just go to your manager and say, hey, I think my value has increased now. I think I'm putting more value into my work than I did when I got here. You can't do it, unfortunately. Like, there are steps and protocols that are being followed for your salary to be increased. And the other sad thing, or sad part about working for the public sector, is that promotion doesn't come easily. Like, that is the honest truth. At DOH, promotion comes with the number of years you've been on the game, and some of us, it doesn't take us that long for us to advance, or rather to have a lot of value or a lot of knowledge for us to put into our work or to get better positions. It doesn't take us a long time to learn, but unfortunately that doesn't count with DOH. Like, it matters how long you've been on the field. And with that being said, such companies will force you to leave instead of you seeking a better opportunities within the organization, because you will not be regarded as old enough to occupy that position. So if that's the type of company you're working for, if that's the type of organization you're working for, where promotion only comes according to how long have you been in this company, instead of what value do you bring to the company, instead of your capabilities of executing the tasks of the position that you want to apply for, then my advice is you need to leave that job. It's one of the reasons I left my job. I could just not wait for 10 years for me to get a better paying job, a better paying position. I just couldn't, hence I left the organization. So if you feel that you can't stay in one position for long, and that staying in one position also means that your salary is not increasing, then you must consider changing organization or changing companies. And the last advice that I have for you guys is, if there is change of interest, I think everybody knows that I am an HIV consultant or an HIV nurse, and I love HIV. I'm passionate about HIV, and my purpose falls within the HIV space. But it is also okay for me to come on here 5 years later and say, hey, I've changed my interest. I no longer want to do HIV. I want to focus on PHC. So if I come on here and say my interest with HIV has changed, they have shifted, and this is what I'm interested in now, then there is absolutely no reason or absolutely nothing that stops me from leaving my job and focusing on something else that I'm interested in. I know someone very close to me who worked in the bank for a very long time, but eventually she left all of that because her interest was in business, and now she is in business. And you just need to follow your heart. That is the most significant thing. It doesn't matter how you've worked so hard to establish yourself in that job or in that company. If you feel your heart is no longer in it, then just pack up and leave. I also know a lot of people who have changed from being nurses into law or into teaching. I've also seen a lot of people who have left corporate into the nursing space. So it is completely okay for you to uproot yourself. Just as you have planted yourself, it is also okay for you to uproot yourself, pack your bags and go plant yourself somewhere else if your interests have changed. So yeah, those are the tips that I have for you guys, and I hope they will assist you to make an informed decision, because I know a lot of people who chooses to stay in spaces that don't serve them, that no longer serves them, simply because they've been there for long or because of fear of the unknown. I recently have a friend who resigned. I think you guys know her. I featured her on my channel a while back. She recently resigned, and this has been something that she wanted to do for so long. But when she finally got a post in Pretoria, she called me and she was like, see, I am so anxious. I don't know if I'm doing the correct thing. And I said to her, what are the reasons why you want to leave your current job? And she laid them down, and I asked her, would they be something that you would be able to compromise? And she said, no, I can no longer compromise that. And I was like, then you made the correct decision. Resigning is not as simple as we make it seem to be, and it is also not as glamorous as we make it seem to be. But if it is for the correct reasons, it is definitely better than staying in a toxic environment. It is better than staying in an underpaid environment. It is better than staying in an environment where your interest and your passion no longer falls for that place. It is completely better than staying in an area that affects your mental health. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up and comment down below. Let me know what are other reasons that you should look out for that could be reason enough for you to resign. If you're new, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys on my next one. Bye guys.